Good evening and welcome to the Cheese Room podcast. You may notice that there is no caller this evening. He's out having an absolutely wonderful time. So you're stuck with me, Shan, your host for the evening. I'm joined by a bunch of illustrious guests. We're going to start with Bren, all the way from Brazil. How are you, Bren?
I'm not too bad, Shan. How are you doing? How's everyone? Hello from Brazil. It's bloody hot today. It's got the aircon on. I'm doing sober October, so I'm drinking straight tonic to fool myself into thinking I'm drinking a G&T. But that's good.
So there's no risk of you falling off your chair tonight then?
I didn't fall off my chair. My microphone fell over and I bent down to pick it up. But yeah, all right, I fell off my chair.
That's what they all say. And we've also got with us again, Cookie. How are you, Cookie?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Good to be back. Nice to talk about a win. I'm sure we'll get into it. But yeah, definitely feel a lot better than I did last Monday after that North London derby. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, definitely. And also making his Cheese Room debut, it's my other half from the other room. So a big welcome to Jack. How are you, Jack?
Hello, everyone. Oh, yeah, I'm doing very well, thanks. Just come back from IKEA not too long ago. A nice day out, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a nice time. We had some meatballs.
Swedish meatballs, can't go wrong.
Got a new lamp. Went sofa shopping. We had a lovely time. But yeah, anyway, on to Spurs. So finally, we have got a win to talk about, guys. Bren, we'll start with you. What's your thoughts on the starting 11 and the formation that we played on Sunday?
Starting 11 was better. Formation, we're still doing a narrow 4-3-3, which I don't think we all like. But I think this one, when it settled into the game's rhythm, it was probably 4-2-3-1. I think Ndombele was sort of given license to roam, and Højbjerg and Skip were told to sit, and it worked. I think first half wasn't a great watch in terms of entertainment at either end. They didn't have a sniff either. But the formation and the lineup was good to see Romero back. Emerson sort of settling into the side as well, so no real issues with the format with the lineup. Glad that Dele wasn't included. He's not been great, as we've discussed many a time. But yeah, I was relatively positive with the lineup. But the 4-3-3 again, it's just not the way forward. And maybe it's just to get the fullbacks more defensively thought out, and later on in the season we'll play 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. But it was a positive lineup and formation.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. Cookie, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, so similar to Brendan, really. I was happy that Romero came in. Thought he was superb. I know we'll get into him later on. Yeah, great to see him come in. And obviously great to see Skippy come back in with Højbjerg. I think it's so much better as a two. And I think they proved that yesterday. Højbjerg looked so much more comfortable, and I thought Skip had a really good game. And obviously Moura coming back and playing up top with Harry Kane and Son. I was confident before the game. Funny enough, I had a funny sense of confidence on my way to the ground. And it showed that yesterday. I thought we played on the front foot. Shaky start, first 15, 20 minutes, wasn't it? A bit shaky, a few sloppy passes here and there. I think once we grew into the game and Højbjerg started to control the midfield, and I thought we eased into it and really showed a good account of ourselves, you know.
Yeah, Jack, what did you make of the performance on Sunday? It was much better, wasn't it, than what we've seen previously?
Yeah, it's been much better than previous games we've had. I want to see a lot more of Brian coming on, because he looks like he's got a lot to give for the Tottenham side.
You're Brian's newest fanboy, aren't you, Jack?
Yeah, he is. He's pretty good. He is pretty good. I want to see more of him.
What is it you like about him?
He just puts in a lot of work. He puts in a lot of passion for the team.
So does Dele.
It's amazing. I do love the hair. It looks like a young Messi when he runs like that with the hair flapping back. You're like, oh, look at that. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no.
It's like Howard off Big Bang Theory, doesn't he?
He really does. He's a ringer, absolute ringer.
Yeah, Bren, who stood out for you?
Oh, Son, by miles. Son was superb yesterday. He's probably the best counter-attacking player in the league, I'd say, when he's on form. He just ran the show, and we'll get into the goals, I'm sure, but just the quick response to their goal was vital, and he made that. I'm gutted that it went down as an own goal. I still don't think that was an own goal. I still think Lucas got the touch, but maybe he'd protest it if it was. But yeah, Sonny by far stood out. But there were other great performers as well. Emerson played really well. Højbjerg, like you said, sort of around the midfield. We knew how Villa would approach it. They've got 5 in midfield and 3 in defence, so they would pack out the midfield. But I thought we stood up to them. We knew we'd be quite aggressive, and that's why I think someone like Emerson coming in was good. He doesn't shirk a challenge. He's good going forwards. He's a good addition. We were on the fence a bit about him when we saw how good Tomiyasu settled in at the Goons. But we'll see how the season plays out. Like I've got faith in him. Like I said, I don't follow every single Brazilian footballer, even though I live out here. But he did the rounds as a kid, Emerson. He as a youth player, he played in various different cities. Played in Campinas, played in São Paulo for São Paulo and for Palmeiras. He played in Porto Alegre, which is like complete other side of the country or further down the country. So that sort of never give up attitude, I think makes him amazing. He's a rough diamond, but there's a player there. But yeah, in terms of the standout player, it had to be Son. He was superb.
Yeah, Jack, what do you think? Would you agree? Would you think Son was the standout guy for you?
Yeah, he was definitely the standout guy, like he usually is in most of the games. To be fair, he was putting in a lot of work, and he was good.
Cookie can probably give us a bit of a more technical response to what made Son.
Yeah, no, I thought
he
was basically everything about Tottenham yesterday, wasn't he? He got us driving forwards. He was dangerous. The Villa defence didn't know what to do with him, whether to get close to him. And when they did, he spun them, as you see in the first half, and he just literally spun the defender coming up close to him. He drove us forward. You know, he was always going to get an assist yesterday. He was in that sort of moods, and it was like, you know, the old Sonny before the little purple, before the down patch he had a few months ago. It was like the old Sonny where he was driving at players, really bringing defenders out of their positions. He was superb yesterday. Everything about him was good about him, was good about Tottenham. And when he's in that sort of mood, that's when Tottenham are really ticking. It's a shame Harry Kane is not the Harry Kane of old at the moment, because I think we would have caused some serious damage with the way Sonny played yesterday. Yeah,
I mean, Harry Kane could have had 2 or 3 of his own, but that leads me on to something else. Sonny, most important player in the squad for you guys at the minute. Do you reckon he's more important than Harry Kane to us right now?
Over Kane, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Interesting.
He just makes us tick, doesn't he? When Son's in that sort of mood, like I said, he just makes Tottenham play better. He just puts us on the front foot from the counter attack. If we soak up the pressure and get the ball out to him early, he can really hurt defenders, as we see yesterday. He can go inside or outside on either foot. He can take the shot or put the cross in. He's just so dangerous, and when he's in that sort of mood, like I said, Villa didn't know what to do with him.
Yeah, Sonny he's a difficult one for. I think there was a Villa fan commented on Friday's show saying that Courtney Hawes was pocketing everyone. Well, he didn't pocket Sonny.
No,
Sonny was outstanding, and like we say, Kane I feel like he played better, but he still just don't seem at the races for me. He's just chances like straightforward chances that last season he would have had with his eyes closed. He's just not putting them away.
He missed a sitter, didn't he?
Yeah, he's missing a few sitters.
I don't worry too much about Kane's goals. I think the goals will come, as we've seen before, after barren spells with Kane, especially after injuries in August normally in the season. But goals for me don't bother me too much. I think the body language of Kane yesterday was better. I think his attacking threat was better. He found better spaces. He linked up play. He had a little bit of the old Kane, you know, in his eyes. You know, you could see that he actually wanted to win the game yesterday and drive the team forward. So the goals don't worry me too much, but I think the body language and the passion was a bit better yesterday. It's not a finished article by any means. It's not the complete Harry Kane of greatness, you know, but you know he's getting there, and yesterday was definitely an improvement.
Yeah, Dave-O in the comments with what about Kane's opportunistic lob? I think that's probably characteristic that we're starting to get the old Harry back. He just needs to get his shooting boots on, don't he? For us to do anything this season, he needs to be fit and firing. That is for sure. Got Born to Lose in the comments. Evening Born to Lose. Evening Cheeseheads. Isn't it strange after the Goons celebrated winning the league last weekend with all their players and club staff that we are somehow above them yet again? It's a funny old game. Yep, we'll come on to those idiots from down the road a little bit later on. But obviously, as Bren said, obviously we started the game with a narrow 4-3-3, but as we grew into it, we were in more of a 4-2-3-1, we looked much, much better. We were playing better football. Do we think that now Nuno has seen that we can play in that way, and we were still pretty defensively solid? Obviously, Romero making a big impact. Dyer as well, having another good game. Do you think he'll feel more confident in sticking with that, or do you think we'll be back to 4-3-3 against Newcastle away after the international break? Bren?
Yeah, I think Nuno's still finding his feet, and I think he's still learning about the players. The players are still learning about him. So that's why I sort of thought, well, maybe the 4-3-3, it's not a permanent fixture. He is just maybe firming up the fullbacks to be future wing backs. So that, like, Emerson's coming from a different league, he needs to understand how to defend in this league. So without giving him free roam just yet, letting him learn his trade as a fullback. I'm hypothesizing here. It may not be the case. But yeah, I think, we'll. It does show that we can't depend on Ndombele for his defensive work. And we didn't yesterday. He was given more of a free roam to be that creative player. So it's kind of sort of between him and Lo Celso in that role behind the front three, or the front two, I guess. No, the front three, to connect the midfield, because that's the problem. We're not really. Our problem this season has been playing through midfield. We've not really had that creativity in midfield and a connection between the front three and midfield. That's why we haven't had many shots, not many chances. We do sort of seem to go long ball all too often. So yeah, I think Nuno will probably change it to 4-2-3-1. Like kind of fell into it yesterday anyway, even though he went 4-3-3. And I think more formations will come as he gets to know the players and as the players get to understand him as well. Yeah,
I mean, we can certainly hope so. Jack, what do you think? Do you think we'll start to see a more free-flowing attacking Spurs, or are you worried we're going to go back to some of the dross we've seen over the last few weeks?
I feel like he's still trying to learn the team and what formation works best and what players that he wants to put on the side when the games are up. But I'm hoping it'll be more persistent as the time goes on, and he just keeps getting results in that we want. It's just hard to say at the moment.
So you think he's still trying to figure out who his best 11 is?
Well, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. Cookie?
Yeah, I think he's still finding his way through. Like, it's 7 league games, isn't it? And he's inherited a lot of crap at the beginning, to be honest, to deal with. So he's still finding his feet. I think he learned a lot from those 3 defeats, as painful as they were. I think he has learned a lot, especially from the North London derby. Obviously dropping Delhi and then bringing in Skip and Højbjerg as a 2. Obviously allowed Ndombele, as Brendan said, Ndombele to express himself a little bit more. I still want to see a little bit more from Ndombele. I think he could have given us a bit more yesterday. Not saying he was bad, but I think I want to see a little bit more. I think there was a couple of times where we went on the break and they sort of pushed the ball out to Ndombele a little bit wider on the right, and he just sort of didn't show any pace at all. If anything, he slowed us down a little bit and checked back when he could have attacked and been a bit more aggressive. So I want to see a little bit more aggression from Ndombele. I think he's finding his feet, and I think the 4-2-3-1 will naturally just form itself with the 2 in midfield. I think that's the way forward for Tottenham.
One thing that Franco said on the pod yesterday was that you could get all of the clips of Ndombele's good bits yesterday into maybe a 45-second reel. These flashes of brilliance that he shows, but it just doesn't do enough during the 90 minutes or 70, however many he gets, to justify his place. So he's one of those ones where I think that we're just trying to get enough out of him for him to catch the eye of a team in a different league and try and flog him in January. I don't think he has a future at the club, but we do still need to keep him in the shop window come January. Lo Celso, again, he's not pulled up trees since he's been here, but I still think there's more of a player there than with Ndombele, in spite of his flashes of brilliance, just as a contributor to the game, to the flow of the game, to be involved throughout and not sort of wane towards the end when you get knackered. I just think that Tongi, I don't think he has a future at the club, and I think that Lo Celso and Hill will probably look to sort of take his place as that connection with midfield.
Yep, I agree. We've got John joining the party. John, how's things? How are you?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Cool. Bit of a temporary setup.
You do look like you're in the Blair Witch Project. Sorry. That's the only thing I'll say.
Yeah, it's very dark.
I'm having all the floorboards in the house replaced tomorrow, so I've had to literally take all the furniture out except this sofa, pretty much, into the room I normally sit in. So it's a bit of a bodge. Got earbuds in rather than microphones and stuff. So I'm sat on the sofa and the laptop's on my lap. So I apologise.
We're happy to have you here, John. What were your thoughts on the game yesterday? Formation, who stood out for you? Because I've obviously already asked everyone else, but what were your thoughts?
When I first saw the format, 4-3-3 again, which is exactly what I didn't want. However, Skippy was playing with Pierre, which was key, I think. We all know that was a massive mistake at Arsenal. I was quite happy Dele was dropped. I said that last week. None of us know what he does anymore, unfortunately. Great player as he has been for us. But it seemed to be more of a 4-2-3-1 at times with Ndombele push forward, which I think works probably better for him from a defensive point of view, which was better, ultimately. If we're not playing a back three, a 4-2-3-1 is the way forward. We all said that on Friday, didn't we? But yeah, otherwise, I was quite happy with the team. I was pleased to see Romero and Emerson. But yeah, and they played well, apart from Emerson's mistake for the goal. Not Emerson, Romero, sorry. But I thought, they played well. Skippy played well. Nice little goal by your Jack's rival for your affections.
Good old Pierre. Yeah, we'll talk about him in a minute.
and of course, Sonny was brilliant. I mean, I have to say, I did think he'd overrun the ball for the second goal, but he got it perfect.
Never ever question Sonny's technical ability, John. Honestly, have you not learned? Have you not learned by now that Sonny is just probably one of the best left wingers in the world? Let's be honest, he is certainly in the Premier League. Guys, there's 55 of you watching, only 22 likes. Please make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It really does help us get more viewers in while we are live. So yeah, just leading back on to what Bren was saying, Ndombele versus Lo Celso. I was very disappointed after Lo Celso's performance on Thursday not to see him in the starting lineup. Cookie, do you think we'll start to see Lo Celso come into that first 11 in the Premier League soon, or do you think Ndombele is just we're going to persist with him for the reason Brentford, just to have him in the shop window for January?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Ndombele be a success, to be honest. I think he's on his day and his ability, he's a great player. I think it's down to Ndombele, to be honest. If he can take his chances while he's getting starts, then there's no reason why he shouldn't be playing. But the same for Lo Celso. If he starts playing in the cup competitions and nicking minutes there and impressing like he did the other night, then he's going to push Ndombele for a place in that midfield three. But for me, I'd like to see a success with Ndombele, to be honest, because I just think he's got so much ability. And if we can get that out of him, then we've got a serious player on our hands. But again, it's down to his attitude and his mentality to do better. And that's what we need. We need him to do better. But yeah, Lo Celso, without a doubt, if he can keep putting in performances like he did in Europe the other night, assists and goals, then why shouldn't he push Ndombele all the way for a start? But I feel he was unlucky not to start. But I did have a feeling that Ndombele would play yesterday.
Yeah, Jack, what are your thoughts? Who would you rather see in the starting 11, Lo Celso or Ndombele?
Saying Ndombele, he's obviously really skilled, but he just needs to get his fitness levels up so he can just play for like a full game with just like full strength.
So you
see that
still
magic,
think,
didn't you? You see a bit of magic yesterday. That turn inside the box and then dribble past a couple of players.
Yeah.
It's a shame the finish wasn't as strong as the run. But if he starts doing stuff like that, defenders are going to be scared out of their life.
He used to be like that for the full 90 minutes, doesn't he?
That's the only problem. It's the 60, 70 minutes that we only get out of him at the moment, isn't it? But Lo Celso is the same. For the minute, for the best part of Lo Celso's career at Spurs, we've only seen sort of 60, 65 minutes of him, starting for Spurs. I know he got 95 minutes the other night in Europe, but we need to start seeing a full game from both of them, really, when they get their opportunity. Yeah,
I think the problem with Ndombele as well is like when he starts to get dragged out wide, it's like he hasn't got the pace to get back quick enough. So he'll be out wide, he'll start something, but then he's not quick enough to get there to carry it on. John, what do you think? Lo Celso versus Ndombele, who would you prefer to see in the 11?
It's a tough call, and I think it does depend on how we're going to play. I prefer Lo Celso a bit deeper sometimes. I think he can thread those balls through. I think he's probably better defensively than Ndombele. But Ndombele does have that bit of magic, as Cookie says. I think it could be 50-50. You could put one in one game, one in the other game, really.
It's a nice problem to have two players pushing each other for a start, but it's just how much they push each other for that start is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, definitely. I think
they both.
Sorry,
They've both got a big ceiling. They can go a lot higher. They're both very skillful, talented players. Obviously, Tim Vickery said the other week how good Lo Celso is for Argentina and how that he's the main man other than Messi. We really need to see that now. He needs to stay fit and start controlling and dictating games, really. Ndombele is a different talent, but again, he could be running games for us, but he hasn't quite got there yet, has he? And hopefully, if he can get fitter, he'll show more and really drive us on.
Yeah, it's definitely a good problem to have, Bren, isn't it? Having the both of them fighting for contention.
Yeah, I mean, we're saying that, but we're 2.5 years now into their time at Spurs, and what have they delivered really on the pitch in terms of output? And yes, there's been changes in manager, but and yes, we can say that they are clearly skillful players, but they need to deliver more, both of them. This is the season. If not now, then when? So yeah, we do need competition for places. We do need more creativity in midfield. I still think that Lo Celso does provide a little bit more, as we said, in the defensive side. We have flashes of brilliance from Tongi, but that's really all he gives us. And again, what has that really delivered in terms of end product? So it's a good thing to have competition, but we also need something to deliver on the pitch. That's the main thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this comment from Dave. Dele, Lo Celso and Tanguy, sell all of them.
About Harry Winks.
It was that easy, eh? I think it was that easy.
He has missed Harry Winks off there, which is definitely a concern. But
what's his future, you think, Shannon?
What? Harry Winks?
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone, and he ain't going to be here next season. We can all hope anyway. We don't talk about Harry Winks here, Jack.
Oh, sorry. I was wondering why he wasn't brought up before.
Yeah, we just pretend he doesn't exist at this point. But moving on to the goals, obviously, what a move. Started off by the only Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and then obviously passing the ball to Sonny and then getting the ball back, and he just passed it beautifully into the opposite corner of the goal. I mean, it was a great finish from someone that is not a natural finisher and often fires shots that are sort of Sissoko-esque. When he does score, they tend to be pretty good goals, don't they, Cookie?
Yeah, I thought it was a great finish. I tweeted out yesterday after the game about and tweeted out the video of the goal. For me, that's a composed and accurate finish. You know, just to pass it into the corner, just on the edge of the box. I mean, that's Harry Kane would have been happy with a finish like that. Someone who of Harry Kane's ability, I think he would have been happy with that. And like you said, normally a Højbjerg shot, you're looking at it going over the bar or into the crowd or whatever it is, but he has shown flashes of that. I think he scored a similar goal against Liverpool, didn't he? Not as passed, but still a great finish and found the corner. So he has got it in his locker. But I was surprised how composed he was, and I mean he could have got shut down a little bit quicker by Villa maybe, but it's a tidy finish and it's a goal. We needed that goal. It was a great time to score, and I loved his celebration. I felt that I just felt everything come out in him, and it seems like a bit of frustration over the last 2 or 3 weeks just all came out when he scored. And it just got us on our way, really, and started off the more dominant performance from Tottenham.
I must say I'm very upset that I didn't go to the game and missed Højbjerg scoring. Thanks, Jack. I won't pass any blame to you, but I'm sure it's your fault. So thank you a lot. Thanks a lot. John, what did you think? Did you see Højbjerg's goal?
Do you know what? So, as I said last week, my wife was running the London Marathon, so I was at home with the kids. And my 12-year-old decided she wanted to bake. And at the exact point, somewhat ironically, she asked me to get the jam out of the fridge, which I think is very poignant given how our discussions the other day. So I missed it and came back and found the stream had just scored and all the messages from the guys. I'm just watching it now. But yeah, lovely ball from Sonny, and it's just class, isn't it? He just spots it, passes it beautifully in the corner. He did score a very lovely goal against Rennes as well, didn't he? That beautiful little touch.
Yeah, Caller said that's a tap-in. I disagree. The Caller said it was a tap-in.
I think Caller's winding you up. I've seen him do that sort of thing for Denmark before. He's. I think now that he realises he's not just a defensive midfielder, we're going to see a bit more from him, aren't we? Now that Skip's there.
Yeah, he's got a bit more license to move now because he knows he's got that protection of Skippy. I think he's starting to trust Skip a bit more. What do you think, Bren?
About Skip, sorry, or the goal?
Yeah, about the goal, and obviously Højbjerg trusting Skip more, giving him more license to move about a bit, control the midfield more, rather than worrying about his defensive job all of the time.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, we did discuss this when Skip was still at Norwich and was tearing up trees there. We're like, well, when he comes back, is he going to start alongside Højbjerg? Will he be his understudy? And I think that we're starting to see now that there probably would be good to start together because Højbjerg, as we've seen playing for Denmark, does like to get forward. And the goal itself was, like we said, it was Son, the best counter-attacking player in the league right now, just ran at them. And I think Cookie was right. They probably gave a bit too much space to Højbjerg. Maybe they were a bit more concerned with Harry. But he didn't seem to have too many players close to him. They just sort of backed off and let him take his shot, and it was a well taken shot. But yeah, I think Højbjerg and Skip together is the way forward. It does give license to roam for the other one, and so yeah, we call it the double pivot. But most teams are doing that these days now, so I don't see a problem with it as long as the creative players are doing their job as well.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, we've got 78 of you watching. Thank you very much for joining us. And only 29 likes. What are you doing with your hands, as Caller would say? Make sure you smash the like button. And while you're at it, subscribe as well. Also, jam belongs in the fridge. Davo, you are
strawberries
wrong.
Are a fruit, which it says on the jar, actually. If you look at it, it says store in the fridge once open. So,
very pragmatic approach from Jack, as always. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
He does live in Australia, though, so maybe they have different preserves or something that means it doesn't have to go in the fridge. I don't know.
Surely if he lives in Australia, it's warmer. Therefore,
I thought that first of all, but they've got weird chocolate and stuff, haven't they, out there?
Be a fan of warm jam. I don't know.
Do you not like it in a nice sort of warm cake or something?
On toast.
Just out of the oven?
On warm toast.
Oh, yeah, on toast.
Toast, yeah, peanut butter jelly on toast. Ooh.
I mean, you're getting a bit out
too
there.
much.
Now. A bit too much, yeah.
No.
Davo says everyone needs a Jack in their life. Yeah. Some more than others, I'd say. So obviously we had the decent win against Mora on Thursday. We beat Villa 2-1 at home yesterday. Do we think that Nuno has eased the pressure on him a little bit now, Cookie?
Yeah, I think it was a must-win game yesterday for Nuno. I don't even think a draw would have been that great for him. I think it was a must-win game, and I think that showed in the players. Sort of after Højbjerg put us 1-0 up, I think we took control, and I think they started to play like we needed to win that game. And it was refreshing to see, even when Villa equalised, we kept going. We didn't just sit back or feel sorry for ourselves or drop our chins on the ground. We kept going, and then we got the winning goal and went on to win the game. So that was great to see, especially after the 3 defeats that we've had in the past. For me, just the players just kept going and going. The free-flowing football, plenty of chances, 17 attempts, 8 on target is so much better than what we've seen in the last month. I was happy with that.
It doubles the amount we'd had in the previous 6 games, doesn't it? Probably
That's
not.
What I mean.
But...
So but to see 17 attempts, from a Spurs side that have basically created nothing in the last 3 league games, it's been, it was refreshing to see that yesterday. And you can just see in Nuno's post-match interview, he had a big smile on his face. He had a little bounce in his step. I think that meant a lot to everyone yesterday, including the fans. I think it was a result that we really needed, without a doubt.
100%. It will definitely boost the feeling. Talking of Villa's goal, John, who do you think was at fault for that? Do you think it was Romero or Dyer?
The trouble with Romero, he's going to be a great player for us. He will make mistakes by trying to intercept the ball from time to time. That's going to happen. He's that sort of player. And he went to try and win the ball, didn't quite get there. It did mean that Dyer then had to come across and cover his area, which meant he left a vacant area for Watkins to run into. So it's a combination of the two of them, to be honest. Probably more so Romero. Could Reggie have got across to cover? You're right there, Jack. I don't know. But, you know, they can both be at fault, to be honest. Dyer does have this tendency just to switch off, doesn't he, at times?
Yeah.
But if,
You know what,
if Romero
though?
wins the challenge, go on.
If you look at that goal from a little bit earlier than that, I think Højbjerg and Skip could have done better in centre mids. The ball sort of bounced between the two of them. They sort of both missed their tackle before that ball was even played into the forward that Romero, the midfielder that Romero took out when he went in like rash and just took him out late. So I think the actual ball could have been won just before the pass that Romero took the player out. So I think they
Sorry, Joe, interrupt. Was Romero booked for that? Because that was booking.
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was late, and I think that's probably one of the only tackles he got wrong. To be honest, I thought he was superb for for most of all of the game.
Yeah,
first half he was superb, getting in front of the tackle and cutting out anything before it could start. I thought Romero was absolutely superb throughout the game. His range of passing was brilliant. But going back to the goal, I think Højbjerg and Skip could have done a little bit better in centre mids, where the ball just bobbled along between two players. They sort of both missed their tackles, and then that's how it got fed into. I think it was, I'm not sure it was the Villa player who took the ball and Romero took them out. But then that left Romero out of position, causing Dyer to come across and fill a gap that was there. So I think that we could have done a little bit better before the pass, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it from that far back.
Yeah, I watched it. I thought it was probably Romero's fault because he went for a ball that wasn't there to be won. No one would have won that. We knew what we were getting with him from that, because in Italy he was renowned for this player that would always try and win the ball further up and make these challenges, get bookings left, right, and centre. And so we kind of have to understand that that's part of his game, and that's what makes him a good player. That's what makes him a defender that we want in our side. But these little mistakes will come, and Dyer's just not the sort of player to depend on when he does make the mistakes, when he doesn't make those challenges in terms of winning those challenges. So yeah, I'd probably put Romero at fault, but like he said, other than that, he was probably flawless. It's so Spursy, isn't it? Like he plays a blinder for the whole game, and his one mistake leads to the goal. But he was superb yesterday. I'm so glad he's settling into the squad, because he is the future of our defence.
Oh, absolutely. I hope we see him in the first 11 for the Premier League if he's fit every game now. I think that he needs to be the first defender on that team sheet. John, who do you think will be the future alongside Romero in Spurs defence? Who would you like to see in that left centre-back role?
A very young Jan Vertonghen, preferably.
So you basically want to go in a time machine, bring Jan back from like 2011.
Well, we're doing that, Ledley then all day long. I don't know if either Sanchez or Dyer will be the future, but I think Dyer probably has to be the one for now. Sanchez will have games where he plays. I mean, Sanchez can't play left centre back, can he? And Romero playing on that right channel, some of the balls he was pinging were just brilliant, weren't they? Alderweireld-esque, I guess. Oh yeah, sorry, Paul Muir.
Paul Muir, our channel member. He says, "What about Roden?" He obviously is Roden's biggest fanboy, Mr. Muir. What do you think, Jack? Would you like to see Roden in left centre back slot? Do you think he's good enough? Do you think he could make that position his own? It's definitely up for grabs for anyone who can perform there and do well.
Yeah, definitely. I think Nuno should give him the chance to like keep that position for himself.
Yeah, he's got to prove himself though, hasn't he?
He does indeed. Yeah, he needs to show that he's made for that position.
Do you think the answer is giving him more time in the cup games, Cookie? Roden, see how he gets on.
Yeah, I do. I think he should definitely get a chance in the cup competition, especially in the Europa and in the League Cup, as far as we go in it. I'd love to see Rodon get more minutes. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's definitely going to be a good centre back for Tottenham in the future, and just hopefully he does get them minutes to prove himself.
Yeah, I mean, someone we were heavily linked with in the summer, Sven Botman, as a left-sided centre back, 21, comfortable, and would cost a little less than Romero. Good investment. I mean, they'd be our centre back pairing, similar to Jan and Toby, for years to come, wouldn't they?
I'd imagine someone would have to leave though, wouldn't you, in January? If
I mean, we're stacked, but I think it would probably be Sanchez that would go.
we get more money for Sanchez for sure. I think he's more a valuable asset. He's a Colombia international. He's experienced in Champions League for not just for us but Ajax as well. So if one were to leave, then it would likely be Sanchez. I don't know too much about Batman, but on Rodon's a strange one because he wasn't trusted at all by Mason when Mason came in, because you thought when Mason would come in that he'd sort of would want to play more of the younger players, in that was his sort of role at the club prior to being given the caretaker job. But he didn't trust him, and Nuno doesn't either, and I don't think Jose 100% did either. So maybe that we're not privy to what's going on in training, so maybe he isn't this huge defender that we all think he is. Maybe there is a huge step up from the Championship to the Premier League for defenders. So he had a good Euros, and so we're basing it on that and the fact that he hasn't made too many mistakes. But these managers, they're not chumps. If he was ready, if he was good enough, Nuno would be playing him. So there's clearly some improvement to be made there from Rodon.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that Nuno should have been playing Romero a lot sooner than he has. But
true.
You know, I mean, against Arsenal, we didn't start any of our new signings, which was a concern in itself. So, yeah, I mean, we've got to give Nuno time. I definitely think he's relieved the pressure on himself a little bit, but I think there's still a bit of a question mark over some of the decisions until we see a consistent run of form and we're playing consistently well. Even if we lose games, we're still seeing that will to try, the attacking football, actual shots on target. I think there's still going to be that question mark over his head. I think, especially as we've seen the rumours in the news that if we don't make top 6 this season, then we can relieve Nuno of his duties without having to pay compensation. So, yeah, it's definitely one to watch, but at least he wouldn't be the first manager to get sacked, because Watford, obviously, saving the day. Who's clicking?
Someone's tapping away. Really.
That's me.
We'd have Kane starts like every game though. Do you think he would have like performed differently if it was at Man City instead of Tottenham, or do you reckon it's just?
Ooh, Jack going in there with the killer questions. That's my job, Jack.
Yeah, but he's got. It depends who he's playing with as well.
Yeah. He'd have better players around him at City, so he'd probably be playing better there than he is, and he wants to play there as well, which I'm sure will affect his attitude. So yeah, 100% he'd be playing better at City than he is for us.
They're crying out for him, aren't they? I watched the Liverpool City game yesterday, and they're literally crying out for Harry Kane, aren't they? Let's be honest. I know they're doing all right without a striker at the moment, a natural striker. But yeah, that game yesterday, it just shows they're crying out for Harry Kane.
They're still valuing the same though since the transfer window.
Next season, no, but I don't see Harry Kane going anywhere now. You think you've got got Haaland, you've got Mbappe, who's going to Madrid, but you've got Lewandowski, who would be open to a move. I know he's older than Kane, but he could still do a pretty decent job for City if that's what they want. They want someone that would just be a 9 and stay up top. Then you don't get much more clinical than Lewandowski, one of the best strikers in the world. So. Yeah, there's definitely options. I don't see Kane leaving. I want to see Kane getting back to his... Obviously, he's had a lot of disruptions. The frustrating thing for me is I think if he was in an England shirt, a lot of them chances he's missed would have probably been slotted away. I think that's the problem with Kane.
Do you think this international break's come at a good time for him or not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's done this before. He's started off slowly for us and then had some internationals, normally September, and then come back and started flying. Will he play? He probably won't play. Is it Andorra we're playing first? It'll be the Hungary game he'll play, won't he?
He'll probably play both.
Will he? Because normally he plays the second striker, like Watkins or Bamford in those weak games we're going to win, and then plays Kane in the tougher one.
I can imagine him bringing on Kane in the second half, though, if we need something. There's only two internationals, isn't there? I think.
Yeah, Andorra and Hungary.
Yeah. So I reckon we could see him in both. But Andorra will probably be a good game to stick him on for us if he doesn't get injured, because he can stick a hat trick away and then it boosts his confidence. So yeah.
And that's why I think Sonny and Kane came on against Mora in the Europa Conference League. I think even if we were comfortable, I think they still would have come on. So I think they got into that game with and hit the ground running, if you like. Sonny was good in that game and got a hat trick. I think Nuno was looking at that game to Sunday for Villa. I think Sonny just sort of where Sonny played well against Mora. I think he just went into the game against Villa the same tempo. So I think them two were always going to come on in that European game on Thursday night, just to give them 30 minutes to then bring that into
match
Sunday.
Sharpness.
Yeah, and I think Sonny done that. I think Sonny got the sharpness against Mora, and then he brought that into Villa on Sunday and just carried on where he left off. So hopefully, like John said, Kane can play for England against Hungary, nick some goals there, and then bring that back to us for Newcastle on the return game on that Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need Kane fit and firing for Newcastle. We all know they're our bogey team, and it's away as well, which normally is a very, very stressful watch for us Spurs fans. But moving on, there was a little rumour that there were some protests outside the club shop on Sunday. Obviously, it was quite publicised over social media that they were going to be meeting there at 11 o'clock. I think only 25 or 30 people turned up. What are your thoughts on that, Bren? I'll come to you first.
Yeah, I mean, the turnout wasn't great. You've got to respect people's right to protest, but it kind of shows that the sort of the Twitter world isn't a reflection of the world, if that makes sense. Just because there seems to be momentum behind something on a few Twitter accounts, that means that they have the sort of a percentage of followers behind their cause. We're not happy with how the club's being run. Of course we're not, but it might be apathetic of us to sort of say, well, they're not going to sell up. They value the club at 3.5 billion. So what's the point? But fair play to the guys that felt the need to protest, and they're planning something else, I think, for the NFL game. It's just it seems a bit fragmented. We already have a voice in the Supporters Trust who have reacted to our recent performances on the pitch and the outcry on that, in sort of calling a meeting with the club. And I kind of think that it should be channeled through them. They are the largest voice of supporters that we have as an organisation. So the sort of fragmented sort of Twitter following, like, oh, let's get together, let's get everyone together. Everyone agrees with me because they watch my YouTube videos or they listen to my podcast. It doesn't really work like that in the real world, and I think that some people need to understand that. But you have the right to protest, but I don't think they've got the momentum of a significant enough sized proportion of the fan base behind them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Cookie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like Brendan said, everyone's got a right for their, to voice their opinion. It's not something I would do personally. It's not something I would do. I went to the game on Sunday. I didn't really see a lot of goings on, to be honest, outside on the high road. Didn't really see a lot, to be honest. Heard a few whispers inside that things are happening, but to be honest, I didn't see anything. And I was down there sort of an hour and a half before kickoff, but didn't really see much. And I think Brendan's right. What we see on Twitter don't always reflect in real life. But yeah, it's not something I'm sort of interested in personally. But yeah, everyone has a right to voice their concerns and they're getting direction from the club. Hopefully that comes out in due course. Yeah,
definitely. John?
Agree with what the guys say, really. I mean, for me, the interesting thing was 53,000, a 62,000 seat stadium. Now, I know a lot of people were struggling to sell their tickets. Was that because we've been playing badly? Was it because they were, like I said on Friday, if you're going to protest, you might as well not go to the game and not spend money at the bar and the shops and stuff. Was it just because they couldn't go because they were doing the London Marathon? Various things.
Or run out of petrol.
I mean, petrol's pretty much back to normal here. I've not really struggled. I know there's no queues anymore.
No queues at all.
Okay, we've got a couple of super chats here now, so we'll do this one first from Kyle. Newcastle Spurs 4-1 to Spurs. Romero and Joe Rodon at the back. I mean, we can dream.
Take that.
I think Martin Sheridan's made a good point at 9:43. Do you want to put that up?
Yeah.
Which means Romero won't be playing. Is that Brendan? You're our South American man.
I think that they've got to buy. I don't think we'd release them if there wasn't something in place. So I don't think they're going to miss any games that any other international player would miss. I'm fairly certain that there has been an agreement put in place that there wasn't when they came to Brazil for them to come back to the UK without the need to quarantine. So I don't think they'll miss any games. So I think it is sorted out now.
Yeah, that's good to know. Hopefully, we'll see the South American contingent in full force against Newcastle Crocodiles. Whenever I think of the Supporters Trust, I think of that Jackie Weaver Zoom meeting. Lol. Yeah, I don't really know, but I mean that Zoom meeting was
Read
something
the
else.
standing orders and understand them.
Yeah.
Is that one?
On the Supporters Trust, they do get a lot of attacks online, and that's why their account is sort of, you can't reply to their account or something. So the individual members get attacks. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, they're not paid. They're not paid to do what they do. They do what they do because they love the club. They do what they do because they feel for supporters, be they disabled supporters going away to Champions League games. They represent us. They lobby on our behalf. So they do get a lot of attacks, and they're good friends of the pod as well. They are our loudest voice, and the club listen to them. So those, if we do want the club to sort of explain what the long-term, short-term vision is in terms of player recruitment or the academy, etc., then the best way to channel it is through the Supporters Trust. And so it just, the banners and everything, I find the circus that happened at the end of last season with the clown masks and the wishing death upon Daniel Levy and all this sort of stuff like that. What's that going to achieve? So it just, I like I said, like we've all said, we appreciate the right of everyone to protest, but our voice is the Supporters Trust, and we need to get behind them, support them, so that they can get answers from the club and they can get the responses that we want from the club.
Absolutely, and on that, you've got Tottenham for Change who are working with the trust as well. So yeah, I mean, the only way you're gonna get anywhere with the club is through the trust. It's cheap enough to sign up to become a member, to get your voice heard, to answer the surveys. So anyone that hasn't, I definitely recommend that you do. Paul Muir couldn't have said this any better than myself. 125 watching, only 44 likes. Insta, Facebook, WhatsApp, all down. Come on, you've got nothing else to do, so hit that like button. That leads us nicely onto the next part of the show, which is to discuss the international break. Oh no, it's not the international break. I'm lying. It's the other games of the weekend. Sack me right now. And the first one that we're going to discuss is Arsenal reverting to tie against Brighton. Obviously, there was a comment from Born to Lose earlier in the show about obviously them celebrating like they'd won the league against us, celebrating winning their new cup final against Spurs last weekend. But they were awful against Brighton, weren't they, Cookie?
Yeah, I actually thought Brighton were brilliant, to be honest. I thought they created so much, but just didn't have someone to stick it in the net. Had they had a good striker up front, I think they would have won that comfortably. But yeah, like I said, they had Arsenal on the ropes for a lot of the game, played some great football. I wasn't sold on Potter, last year. I wasn't really sold on him, but to be honest, what I've seen of him so far, he's played some great football at Brighton. He's got them players really playing some good stuff. And like I said, I think if they had someone to finish, I think they would have took Arsenal to the cleaners at the weekend. I think Arsenal were lucky to get away with a point there. And it's just ironic, we've got to another international break and again, we're above them in the table. People talk about how good West Ham have been this year, and again, we're above them in the table. So, despite the 3 terrible losses we've had, the league table doesn't look that bad going into this international break. But we do need to build on that win against Villa with the Newcastle game on the Sunday when we come back, and just keep going forward.
We absolutely need to work on our goal difference as well, because that is dreadful.
I think we're the only team in the top half with a minus goal difference, aren't we?
It's like -4.
Yeah, but despite that, we're sitting in an okay position for where we were 3 games ago. And like I said, to be above Arsenal and West Ham is brilliant. Like yesterday afternoon, seeing Brentford get that last-minute winner was superb. And I definitely watched that on Match of the Day last night. For me, in terms of the league table, I'm happy going into this international break, but we just need to build on that Villa result against Newcastle.
Absolutely. John, what were your thoughts on the Arsenal game? Did you manage to watch it?
I saw bits of it. Brighton are just a very, very good team now, aren't they? They moved the ball very quickly. They were missing quite a few players as well, I think, weren't they? But yeah, they're just a good team. I think it was always going to be a tough game that for Arsenal. But I very much enjoyed.
Oh,
frozen.
We lost him.
He's not. He's definitely gone. Right. Okay.
What do you think he enjoyed? What do you reckon happened next? What did he enjoy?
He probably enjoyed watching Brighton completely outplay Arsenal, if I'm honest. But
Yeah.
You watched that game, Shan? I don't think I saw the Arsenal game.
no, we were busy. We didn't watch it, but
Oh.
they played awful.
Hello.
moving on. So what did you enjoy about the Arsenal games, John?
I enjoyed West Ham losing, is what I was going to say, because every time West Ham beat us or win a game, I get tagged in by every West Ham fan I know. I seem to. I don't tag anyone when we beat them. I don't care about people particularly, but yeah, on Facebook, I'm always getting tagged by West Ham fans, and now they're below us. So hopefully, we won't lose to them at the London Stadium, and I can be more smug.
Yeah, it could definitely be worse. Your dad could be a gooner.
Yeah, he always sends you messages, doesn't he?
Yeah, I get abuse. I get left voicemails when we lose. Like, yeah, it's not. I get sent selfies when they win, which isn't very often. So thank God for that.
It just shows that we're their cup final, doesn't it? You know, they raised their game against us. I know we were poor that day. Don't get me wrong, but they raised their game against us, didn't they? Just like West Ham do.
Speaking of teams where we're their cup final, West Ham lose at home to Brentford. Last gasp set piece as well. Absolutely brilliant from Brentford. Bren, what did you think of that?
I'll be honest, I only saw the Spurs game this weekend. I don't have match of the day out in Brazil. So, but I've got a Brentford story though. Brentford are the closest team to where I grew up. And I used to do like football summer schools at my primary school with them. And as part of the package, you get a free ticket. So the first game I ever went to was a Brentford game. And you know, when you're a kid, you lied, you exaggerate to the point of lying. I sort of exaggerated saying that I had trials with Brentford just because I did this summer school. I paid for this summer school. And that lie stuck with me till at least like my mid-20s. I sort of was like, yep, I had trials. So in my mind, I justified it thinking, well, if I was any good, they'd have seen that and maybe want me to play for them. But yeah, no, I didn't see the game, sorry.
What a letdown that was. Cookie?
Yeah, like I said, you know, I was on my way home from the Spurs game. I see West Ham equalised. I was thinking, like, and there was a few minutes to go. I think it was the 80th minute that West Ham equalised, and I thought, oh, here we go. They're going to go on and win this now. Brentford will crumble, maybe. But then to get off the train and see that Brentford scored in the 95th minute, I was over the moon. I think I cheered more than I did the Spurs goal. To be honest, I was going mad. But yeah, I watched a match of the day, and I watched a match of the day, and the guy just absolutely lamped it, you know, from outside the box, like on the on the half volley.
It was a great shot.
Yeah, there was literally no time for West Ham to reply.
Yeah, we put it on like near the end, didn't we? Near stoppage time, and then it was just right at the very end, like just scored that goal, didn't they? Just
literally the last second,
It was a great shot as well. It was a great goal, absolutely brilliant.
I think it was over the stoppage time actually, wasn't it? But they just continued till it went off.
It was it was pretty much the last kick of the game. Yeah, Liverpool City apparently was an absolute worldie of a game, one of the best games of the season so far.
Didn't we?
We listened to it in the car because we were on our way back from walking the dogs, and it sounded like it was the second half anyway. Sounded like the second half was just a great display of football and just shows the Premier League the quality that it is. I don't know if any of you guys managed to watch it or see Salah's goal. There's now people saying that Salah's the best in the world.
Salah's goal was out of this world. It was superb, just the way he sort of beat 3 or 4 players. And this is Man City. They've got good defenders, but they just sent them sliding into the car park. It was a superb goal, a superb finish. And yeah, he is probably one of the top 3 players in the world right now. Well, certainly top 5. He was immense. Only he could have scored a goal like that. Also, Mane's goal was pretty decent as well. A typical sort of Mane goal, just raced in, and it was. Yeah, I saw extended highlights. Second half, it really did kick off. But that goal from Salah was majestic.
Yeah, Cookie, did you see it? Managed to see it? Obviously,
Foden
getting back into form as well, scoring.
Yeah, Foden played really well yesterday. He was a constant threat for them. Liverpool sort of. Yeah, got a bit lost with him when he got the ball into the box and on the edge of the area and stuff like that. It took his goal really well, Foden, to be fair. But yeah, it was a great game. I mean, I think Klopp was fuming with the first half. He wasn't happy at all. And Liverpool sort of responded second half. But it seemed like every time Liverpool tried to get away from City, they sort of clawed them back and nicked the goal back. So in the end, they were knackered. I think the last 5-10 minutes and plus injury time, both teams were shattered. It was like two boxers just slugging it out in the end. And both teams could have nicked it in the end as well. They both had chances right at the death. But, on reflection, I think a 2-2 draw was a fair result. And two very good teams, let's be honest. And Salah's goal was magic. There's no
two
way
of
to
the best
describe
in the
that.
world.
Yeah, on his weaker foot as well, and still finished it after a mazy run. Brilliant game. Yeah, good advert for the Premier League. And two teams that are going to be fighting for that title for sure.
John, what do you think of claims that Mo Salah's the best footballer in the world right now?
We lost him.
He's gone, isn't it? Every time I want him to speak, he's off. He's like, nah, no thanks. Jack, what do you think of claims that Mo Salah's the best in the world right now? In a world that still has Ronaldo and Messi, that's a bold claim, do you think?
It's quite bold. I see Ronaldo as like probably one of the best players. I don't know whether I'd say he's the best. It's quite hard to say. He just needs to be more like consistent with his games whilst he's at Man U, but he has still scored a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Ronaldo's a different beast. He's 36 years old and still putting them away for fun. John, what are you playing at?
I'm here now. I think my daughter's laptop's getting a bit hot, so I've unplugged it for now. I think Salah's a very good player. It seems to be only a couple of years ago, a lot of Liverpool fans were saying, if I had to lose one of the front three, it'd be Salah. And I could never believe that, the amount of goals he scores and the quality of the goals he scores. But they was like, no, Mane and Firmino are more important, and even Jota now. But he's a sort of player I really wanted to sign when he was at, was it Basel he was at? Basel in Switzerland? Because he scored 2 against us, didn't he? And he was just brilliant. And then Chelsea obviously sold him and he was rubbish. Then he played against us for Fiorentina in the Europa League. And I was quite disappointed when he went to Liverpool for a relatively low fee. And he's just been absolutely brilliant. What is effectively a right winger scoring 100 goals slower than only, is it Kane, Aguero? Who else? And I think it's like 4 players have scored 100 goals quicker than him. It's just unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, at the moment, Messi is just unbelievable, isn't he? And Ronaldo, I can't think who else really at the moment.
Would you put Salah up there with Messi and Ronaldo? Lewandowski?
I think he's best. I think he's best of the rest, to be honest.
I'd swap him for Kane.
You'd swap him for Kane?
Yeah.
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
I still rather have Son. I still rather have Sonny.
Oh yeah, but they play in different positions, don't they? Could you imagine Son, Kane, and Salah up top? Imagine that. That would be great. Then Kane would have no excuse not to score. Although Salah is a greedy git, so. But yeah, John, one of our channel members. Hi, John. All the fuss about Salah, I saw Jimmy doing it every week on a bog of a pitch. Yeah, I mean the great Jimmy Greaves. I don't think there's anyone better than him. He'd smash it now on the pitches we've got now. Imagine Jimmy Greaves playing on our pitch, just be absolutely incredible. Daigle in the comments, big up Daigle. I don't think Salah is up there with Messi and Ronaldo permanently. However, right now I would say he's the best player in Europe on current form. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Definitely fair. So Manchester United and Everton. Obviously, Manchester United went 1-0 up. And you get Gylfi Sigurdsson. No, not Gylfi Sigurdsson. We don't talk about him anymore. Andros Townsend doing the C celebration as well, levelling Everton up. I mean, it's things you love to see, isn't it? I'm proper chuffed for him. What did you make of that, Cookie?
Yeah, I can't believe what's going on with Andros Townsend.
He's reborn, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's got it in his locker to score worldies as well. Like he scored a great goal against Man City, didn't he, a year or two ago? He scored a great goal the other day, top corner, and then he follows it up with a goal at Old Trafford, and then does the Ronaldo celebration. I like the way he explained himself at the end as well in the interview, saying that he didn't execute it well, but it's a mark of respect to a great player. But to do it,
it was definitely the piss.
Yeah, without a doubt, and he had to sort of backtrack a little bit. But yeah, what's going on with him at the minute? He's on fire. Like, he went there on a free transfer. It sounds like one of the signings of the window at the moment, without a doubt.
Absolutely,
brilliant
on a free as well. Yeah. Bren, would you have Andros Townsend back at Spurs?
On current form, yeah. Like you're right about the recruitment at Everton it went sort of really under the radar because they didn't spunk a load of money and waste it like they normally do. They got Damari Gray for 1.3 or something from overseas, who didn't really make the cut at Leicester, but went overseas.
Another good signing.
Another great signing. So. And they've both started the season incredibly well. Like Andros' dad, Troy, who's been on the Cheese Room pod a few times, is a good supporter of the pod. He was on the Guardian Football Weekly this morning. He was just chuffed. He loved the fact that his son is scoring great goals. It was a good goal against United. It was a counter-attack. I think it was the celebration, as Shan said, was hilarious. And it was in homage, but I think Ronaldo, surprisingly enough, got in a strop about it or something that he was a bit annoyed about it, but I'd take Andros back right now. Like he left the club under a bit of a cloud. I think he had that argument with the fitness coach at full time. I think that and under Pochettino, and that's why Pochettino's like, right, he's gone. And he having Troy on the pod, we did ask him about his time. He had a really serious injury when he was at Spurs, and because he was playing for England, it was going to be the next big thing. But he got an injury and his running was off, and his dad went and sort of saw him and was like, he's not running right. So sometimes these injuries, you kind of have to relearn how to run, relearn how to build up your strength and your technique. And he's clearly done that now, and he could make his way back into the England squad, I reckon, if he keeps it up.
Oh, that would be great to see. It'd be great to see Andros back in the fold for England, wouldn't it, John?
Absolutely. I think his time has probably passed, though, unfortunately.
Don't be such a Debbie Downer.
It's a bit like Ings, though, isn't it? Ings seems to have been kicked out of the England squad, and he's a good player still. But I think, you're right. It was in the lead up to the Brazil World Cup, wasn't it? He ended up being on the ITV panel because he was injured, and I've heard interviews with him since, and he said that he got quite depressed with the injury and really affected him, and he now feels he handled his time at Spurs badly at the end, and he sort of respected what Poch did. Obviously Bergwijn's injured again. I'd probably have him ahead of Bergwijn. Lucas, it's probably 50-50. He probably scores better goals than Lucas, but Lucas will probably score, although all his goals keep becoming own goals at the moment, don't they? Lucas worked hard, doesn't he? But he's a Spurs lad.
He's getting in the right positions to push them own goals, so that's promising.
That's true. You see Townsend quite often at Spurs games, don't you? When the camera pans around at the European games and sitting with the likes of Tom Carroll up in the where they sit in the posh bits. But yeah,
Steve seats.
Steve seats.
Yeah, no. Obviously, it was great for Everton, great for Andros, but Manchester United, what is going on there? I mean, the talent that they've probably got the best 11 in the league, I'd say, with names on paper, probably the best 11, and they're just not really at it, are they, Cookie?
No, it's just been a couple of sticky results, isn't it? I'm sure they'll get out of trouble with the players and the quality they've got. Obviously, Ronaldo keep nicking winners when he does. I mean, it was unfortunate. There was Everton should have won the game, really. I mean, it was an offside, wasn't it, late on? So it was unlucky for Everton and really lucky for Man United not to lose the game in the end. But I think they'll get out of this little sticky patch. Obviously, Ollie's got his doubters. Some fans that not really keen on him. I don't really follow Man United too much, but with the quality they've got and, like you said, the starting 11 and some of the depth they've got on the bench, I think they'll turn it around and get some results. Will they win the Premier League? I don't think they will win the Premier League, but I think they will be close. I think they'll be in the top 3, top 4, definitely pushing that for the season. But with Ollie there, I can't see him being league champions, to be honest.
Yeah, Bren, speaking of Ollie, how long do you think he's got? I mean, the Glazers have been investing in that squad. They're spending money. Do you reckon they'll trust Ole and trust the project, or do you think he's had enough time now and enough money spent to be challenging?
It depends how the season pans out. They've had a few sticky results in the Champions League and in the league now, so it's not great for him. But he started the season relatively well. They were banging in goals. Ronaldo was back. There was a big buzz about that. So he's not a superstar manager, but he's got superstar players, and he seems to be managing them relatively well. The likes of Pogba and where you'd think there would be an ego there to manage. He seems to have done okay with that. So I think he'll get till the end of this, unless things fall off completely. He'll probably get to the end of the season. If he gets a domestic cup and top four, he'll probably keep the job. I don't think they're too desperate to really push the boat out to be challenging for the league. They seem to be quite content with Champions League and a couple of domestics. So I don't think his job's really in that much danger right now. It just depends how the season pans out.
Yeah, I mean, Craig makes a great point. We're having a disastrous season. So, well, you'd believe we're having a disastrous season. We're only 2 points behind Manchester United. So when you put it into perspective, and like Paul says, our next home game is United and we can beat them. Yeah, on our day, but we have to really turn up. We have to make sure we're there mentally, physically. I mean, I'll be in mine/caller's seat because he's not going to be there. So fingers crossed we get a good result.
Jack looks surprised by that.
Oh yeah, Jack.
When's the game, Shannon?
Hell, it's the end of October, I think. It's the last weekend of October, the United game, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 30th Halloween weekend.
Yeah, Jack, if you want a ticket, you can use my membership, and then I'll transfer it over to you.
I thought you'd be going trick or treating.
Honestly,
No,
sort yourself out.
You can get me a ticket.
You can pay for it. I ain't made of money. But yeah, I'll get you a ticket. Don't worry. Anyway, back to the football. International break. Boo. I mean, do you think this international break's come at the right time or the wrong time, Cookie?
You would say after a result yesterday, maybe the wrong time, because you want to go into that next game now with this sort of momentum that we've built up from the Villa game. And we haven't got many injuries to sort of nurse at the moment. Obviously, an international break could be a different story. But like we see the last international break, we got absolutely demolished with injuries.
Yeah.
So, in terms of resting players and stuff like that, we don't really need to do that at the moment. It's only Bergwijn, I think, is out in the senior players that are out injured at the moment. So it is a shame it's come again, and normally it is rubbish for us. So I'm just hoping and keeping my fingers crossed that our players will get through it and come back and pick up where they left off for Newcastle.
Yeah, definitely. I think injuries is going to play a big part in how we the next few games. I think it's Newcastle away, West Ham away, United at home, and then we've got Burnley away in the cup chucked in there, and then you've got some of the Conference League games, Bren. If we get any more injuries, that could spell trouble for us, couldn't it?
Absolutely, and not just that, just the time on the training pitch. There's been so much disruptions to Nuno's ability to get out on the training pitch with the issues with the quarantine that we spoke about, with Kane coming back late, not having a pre-season. So I don't think this is the right time at all for the international break. I'd rather we didn't bloody have any of them. But we understand that we have to release these players for it. But yeah, if there's injuries to key players that are starting to bed themselves in, it just sets us back and piles more pressure on Nuno. So, but yeah, we just need them on the training pitch, and that's where Nuno sort of works his magic. That's where he's known to be able to deliver results on the pitch. And I don't think it's come at a good time at all, especially as Cookie said, after getting momentum, after a good win, you want the feel-good factor in training with all the players together. That's not there now. They've all buggered off to their own sort of squads. So it's annoying, but we have to accept it. And like I said, just hope we don't pick up too many injuries.
It just feels, don't it, like the last international break was literally 5 minutes ago, and we've just endured a load of pain and misery since, John, don't it?
Well, we went into this international break 3 out of 3, didn't we? And then it all crashed down, and we had the whole Argentinian malarkey, and we just managed to get it back on the win. In some ways, going to the international break on the back of a win is a good thing, because we're a bit calmer now. If we'd lost yesterday, this would be horrendous these 2 weeks.
Well, I think Nuno could have lost his job if he'd have lost yesterday.
Yeah, that was massive.
Yeah, but
that was a massive result yesterday.
Yeah, but I mean, have they got a replacement lined up? I mean, obviously with Pochettino, Jose was signed. He was ready. We all knew that was a done deal before, wasn't it? Whereas, was it because he was after Nagelsmann? Is that why we end up with Mason, because Nagelsmann was going to go to Bayern so quickly?
Probably.
I don't know. But as far as the international break, let's just hope we don't get injuries. because that was a real shit show last time.
Jack, you looking forward to the international break? Seeing England whoop Andorra, I think, away, and we've got Hungary at home.
At least for break starts on a high, like you just said, like we're just having a win in the last game, which we needed. Because if we had another loss, then no one would be in a good mood, really, especially yourself, Shan.
What? Because Spurs aren't losing while there's an international break. There's always England.
It affects your mood, doesn't it? So.
Yeah.
I mean, you live with me, so you probably know better than I do if it affects my mood or not. England, Andorra away, and Hungary at home. Cookie, how do you reckon England will do?
Oh, I'm sure we'll win both of those games. Hungary's at home, isn't it? We've already
Hungary's
been there.
at home.
We had a bit of a tough time there, but we got the result, didn't we? Yeah, straightforward for me. It should be 2 routine wins and carry on where we left off in the group from the last international break. I can't see us getting too many problems there. I think the Andorra game, I think there'll be changes. Like we mentioned earlier, I think a few players will come in and a few of the bigger players will be rested for Hungary. And I think that's the right thing to do, really. And if Harry Kane gets 1 game out of the 2, I'll be happy with that, rather than playing both of them. For me, I prefer him to play 1 if he's going to play 1 over 2, and just hopefully he gets back injury-free and ready to go again.
Yeah, I mean, but then you've got matched up. I'd be happy for him to get 25 minutes against Andorra and just get get a couple of goals just for his own
that's a good point,
confidence and get some match sharpness in there. But
there's a good chance, Shan, that you'd get more chances against Hungary than you will against Andorra or San Marino or any of these small teams, because they tend to keep it very tight at the back as long as they can, whereas Hungary are more likely to come out and play against us, which will probably suit them.
I think they've got to, haven't they, as well? I think Hungary had to come out and play, didn't they? They need a result, didn't they? So
I'm just going to have a look at the England.
And we saw Hungary aren't a bad team in the Euros. They could.
So looking at the table, you've got... God, it's a long way to scroll down to get to England, isn't it? Group I. So you've got... Oh, God.
England on 16, Albania on 12, Poland on 11, Hungary on 10.
Andorra on 3, San Marino on none, with a minus 23 goal difference. But they keep it tight, John.
No, they try to it as long as they can, don't they? They don't come out, do they? That's what I'm saying.
I mean, we quite often spank them 5-6-0. So if he's going to get a goal, it would be... But Andorra have a minus 10 goal difference. But then we beat Hungary, what was it, 4-1?
That's my point.
Away?
Hungary will come and try and play against us, won't they? They will have a go. So they will make more chances. It will open up more.
But yeah, if we can build on that 4-point gap, then we're in a good position. I mean, we shouldn't be losing any of the games we've got left in that anyway. So should be
England's last 2 away games, which were in 07-08 at Andorra, were 2-0 and 3-0. So they weren't big results. I mean, obviously they're wins, but they're just games about getting a couple of goals, see the game off. That's what it's about.
Yeah, but to be fair, the Republic of Ireland beat Andorra like 4-0 or 4-1 not so long ago, just before the Euro. So if the Republic of Ireland, which consists of Troy Parrott and Matt Doherty, can beat Andorra 4, England.
But then Andorra, they probably tried more against the Republic of Ireland to come out and play, didn't they? Because it's more against their level.
Yeah, that's harsh.
Ireland are appalling. I'm sorry, Brendan, but they are really, really bad at the moment. When I remember the Irish teams of the 90s and even 2002, you think actually they always had a lot of journeyman players, but they had 2 or 3 top class players. And Ireland are desperate for a striker, aren't they? They're more desperate for Troy Parrott to be top class than we are.
Yeah, they've got big Troy up top. Looking at the rest of the home nations, so Wales have got the Czech Republic and Estonia both away. So that's not too good for Ben Davies and Joe Roden. They're going to be some pretty physical games. Scotland have Israel at home and the Faroe Islands away. Northern Ireland have Switzerland and Bulgaria away. I'm not too sure who the Republic of Ireland have got.
They've got Azerbaijan away.
Ooh.
Oh. Horrible.
Tough.
Who's the other one? Who's the other one?
Horrible. But yeah, obviously England have probably got the well, Scotland, Israel and Faroe Islands, but they're crap. But England have probably got the nicest games out of all of the home nations. And then I did have a question on here about the South American contingent and if they've travelled, but I know obviously we've discussed since that they have. So hopefully they can come back and be in the frame for Newcastle, because we definitely need Romero and we need Romero at least to be fit for that game. So fingers crossed, otherwise it'll be Dyer and Roden at the back. Which
they're not coming to Brazil, which is the main thing. I think Brazil was the big red flag, because both coming in and leaving Brazil. I think other countries in South America aren't red list. And even then, I know that there is the FIFA dispensation has been sorted out this time, so they won't lose any games unless they get bloody injured.
Yeah, fingers crossed we get Romero, Sanchez and Lo Celso back in one place, especially Lo Celso, because I really want to see him start to kick on. Hopefully we get to see Bergwijn back soon as well. I think we're missing him. We're missing what Bergwijn has to offer. So, guys, obviously, get your questions in the chat. I'm just going to go through some now, do a bit of a Q&A. Let's have a look. If you spot any comments as well, just let me know and we can get those read out.
Oh, Alexander Hilton at 10:16 makes a good point.
Yeah, another start for Pascozzi in the he's a regular international for Estonia now, isn't he?
Yes.
He's definitely got a bright future ahead of him. Maxim Pascozzi. God, this is where we could do with HG, isn't it? Pascozzi. Yeah, he looks good. He's looked good. I'd like to see him play in the Conference League ahead of Doherty, to be fair.
He can't though, can he? Because he's not registered as an A, and he needs to be at the club 2 years before he become a B player. So next season he'll be able to play in the Conference League. It is a shame though. You're right. It would have been a good.
Hopefully we're not in it next year.
Yeah,
Europa League or Champions League or whatever.
Oh, yeah, Europa League at a minimum next year. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Although the Conference League is a good chance to win a trophy, so we should be trying our hardest
Until we lose to Roma.
Yeah, I mean we don't talk about that. We've got some love for Nala in the comments. Ian's YouTube.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Check out Mr. Cotter's Dogs on YouTube. Is that the one that gets them to do competitions? I think if it is, I've seen him. Who else have we got? We'll be getting a new centre back partner. To partner Romero. Nearly got one in the summer, just couldn't complete a deal. Yeah, I definitely think we'll be seeing another centre back.
It's all about who we can get out the door, isn't it? And if clubs have actually got a bit of money next year, now that sort of they're getting crowds back in.
Yeah, I mean, we don't create chances for Kane. Never had a touch in the box against Palace. Kane ain't looked sharp. I mean, he has had chances in the last couple of games. He's just not been putting them away. He had 3 of note against Arsenal, and he had another 3 of note against Villa.
But against Palace, he didn't get near the box himself, did he? He was trying to drop deep, and
he was invisible against Palace and Chelsea.
Let's hope Newcastle's his game to shine.
He's got a good record up there, hasn't he? In recent years, he's got 2 last season.
Yeah, but the thing is at Newcastle is they tend to score 2 as well, and you have certain players that have their once a season blinders against us. There,
Joel Linton.
Yeah, that's the one. Dyer doesn't know where the ball is where players are to defend successfully. I think this is John trying to say Dyer isn't a smart player. I think Dyer's been much improved this season. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I think so. I think, he gets his stick, and rightly so sometimes, and we know that. He's got a ricket in him and stuff like that. I think playing with Romero should bring the better side of him out, Hopefully they can build a partnership as long as they can until we buy another centre-back, which it looks like it's going to be in the summer. But for the time being, I think Nuno's going to stick with those 2, and I think they're going to hopefully build a relationship and get to know each other a bit better.
Yeah, definitely. And then there's just this little bit about international games. We just need to accept it. And this is why you need squad depth. Daniel Levy, come on, buy us some players.
I think it's something silly like I think Spurs have got 4 or 5 players left for an international break at the training ground. I think it's only 4 to 5 players. I think they said earlier in the week.
And how many do Newcastle have? More.
Yeah.
Literally.
And that's my worry. That Bruce has got them for a couple of weeks. No interruptions, no distractions, just on the training ground, and we've lost pretty much, apart from, like you said, 4 players.
Yeah, we have to backfill training with all the under 23s just to get a training session out. So it's going to be difficult for Nuno for the next week or two, without a doubt. Yeah.
Definitely, as if he needed any more problems. But yeah, I mean, this is where your squad comes into play, isn't it? I just think we do need a much more balanced squad. Even the first 11, you could argue there isn't too much balance to it. On paper, the names are good and they're all very technically good footballers, but the balance of the team just isn't quite right.
But it's always going to take more than one window, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's going to take 2 or 3 windows to get that balance, to get the players out the door as well as in. So
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
give the club another window or 2, and hopefully we'll see a much better, much more balanced squad in the future.
Losing the Conference League to Jose's Roma would be painful. Losing to Jose's Spurs sacked is shit. Yeah, can't argue about that, but we all know it's probably going to happen. It'll be a Spurs Roma final. Born to Lose agrees. Dyer looks a different player with a highly competent centre-back alongside him. He had one with Romero on Sunday. Yeah, hopefully it can continue. I mean, Dyer started really well last season and then just went to sleep for the rest of it, didn't he? I think the Liverpool game, Liverpool away, just done us for confidence.
Yeah, and he made that huge mistake against Chelsea, didn't he, for the penalty, which really frustrated me. Such a poor challenge. Brendan?
Yeah, no, you're right. He has improved this season. He's not a disaster of a player. I think, as we saw last season, he did say to Jose, look, I'm not a midfielder. I want to play centre-back. That's where I can play. I just don't think he has the concentration, and maybe Nuno will iron those things out. You'd like to think so. He's not an international player. He's not in the England squad, is he? So he'll be one of those players that will be there on the training pitch this next couple of weeks to work on. So yeah, he's been improved, but the bar was pretty low from last season, and we'll see how the season pans out. I think he'll probably stay just for the because he is sort of quite an important member of the squad in terms of the squad sort of harmony. We probably will lose Sanchez because, like I said, he's a more valuable asset. But I don't know. We've seen this so many times with him. Like we keep going back there and expecting something different. Hope he keeps up the relatively good form this season, but I have my doubts.
Jack, what do you think of Eric Dyer so far this season? Have you been impressed with him? Jack? Jack?
So say that again.
For goodness sake. Eric Dyer, what do you think of him so far this season? Have you been impressed with him?
He's had his good games, hasn't he? But he's also had quite a lot of games which he hasn't been playing too well.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's had more good games than bad.
Just on the point though, from the comment about the competent player at the centre back. I mean, he was playing alongside Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld before, who are highly competent as well. So maybe that's the point of the comment, is that back then when he was playing with Toby, that he was okay, but he was playing with Toby last season as well, and was still making the same mistake.
Toby weren't as good last season, was he? If you're really honest.
But in terms of organising him, I think Dyer is maybe our David Luiz. He needs someone alongside him to tell him where to be, to tell him when to challenge, to tell him who to mark. So I get the comment in that aspect, but I don't know if Romero is that sort of leader in the defence. I don't know how good his English is either. So,
they both speak Portuguese.
Romero is from Argentina, and they speak Spanish in Argentina.
I think Dyer speaks Spanish though, as well, doesn't he?
He'll speak Portuñol. I call it Portuñol. Like I speak Spanish when I'm in Mexico and stuff, and it's very much based on my Portuguese. We all want Dyer to succeed. He's solid. He's got that sort of John Terry-esque aggression and Britishness and stuff with obviously the Portuguese flavour too. But how long do we need to give him? You know, he's 26, 27 now. he should be at the finished article, and if not, let's move him on and get someone else in that has either the potential or the ability to keep our defence tight.
Yeah, I don't see Eric Dyer going anywhere, considering he wants his ashes scattered in the stadium. Cookie, what do you think?
Nah, I can't see it. I think, like I say, he gets some stick from Spurs, but let's be honest, he does love it at Tottenham. You can see that in his passion. You can see that in his sort of body language, the way he tries to get people up and geeing them up and stuff like that. But like I said, my point, playing with Romero, he's only going to get better, surely. He's playing with a good centre back. Hopefully, someone that can organise, the back four. I think Dyer likes to try and organise himself as well. Likes to be a voice at the back. Like I said, if we have to play those two together and hopefully they build a relationship, I can't see anything wrong with that at the moment until we can get to the summer window and see where we are in terms of bringing in a replacement. But for me at the moment, I'm not too disheartened when he plays, to be honest. I'm not that bothered, if you like. I'm not too bothered in playing. I actually I actually thought he played all right yesterday. All right, the goal was disappointing from a defensive point of view. But other than that, I thought him and Romero played really well together.
I love how he stuck his arm up in desperation as well when the goal went in.
Yeah, for the offside.
Offside, surely? No. Okay, worth a shot. Fuck it.
He gives us passion, doesn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He does.
I've watched the goal back. I put Match of the Day on while we were talking, and I watched the goal. Interestingly, the Skip Højbjerg challenge, you're right about Kiki. Skip lost the ball to the goal scorer. So actually, arguably, Skip should have tracked him, knowing that Romero had come out. So there's a third play you could almost blame as well.
And that's where I was saying, I think, I'm just saying, just
he follows the runner.
Pass.
Yeah, but even if he doesn't win the tackle, if he follows Watkins and runs with him, knowing that Romero's come out of position, because it actually left Emerson with a 2-on-1, didn't it? When the ball breaks to the outside, it left Emerson with a slight 2-on-1, so he couldn't go to the ball as quickly as he would have liked to because he had like two players on him, and I think that's why Dyer come across and it pulled Dyer out of position, and that's allowed Watkins in and tap in from whatever it was, 5 yards. And then Reggie's a bit slow.
I think the ball could have been won further up the pitch, and like you said, if it wasn't won, then tracked by Skip. You just need to look a little bit further from the goal, where the play started from, and you'll see where that issue was.
Yeah, definitely. On that note, we've been going for almost an hour and a half. Obviously, we've discussed everything that could possibly be discussed: the win at Villa, the other results, the international break. Once again, Cookie, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Great to be back on, and hopefully get another show in this week and then join you guys again.
Yeah, definitely. Bren, thanks for coming on to the tube at late notice.
Oh, always a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I just spotted a Brazilian viewer there.
Shan, sorry, there's a new comment coming.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Right at the bottom.
While we're finding it. Who is the least bad Portuguese importers first? The least bad. So the worst.
Least bad?
No, the best.
No, the least bad is the best.
Okay.
Basically saying they've all been bad, I think.
Portuguese. But are we talking manager or player there?
Gee, I mean, you've got a nice list of them.
Just stick to players, I think.
Pedro Mendes.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, what's the competition? Jose Dominguez. Dominguez was Portuguese, I think. Postiga.
Ricardo Rocha, was he Portuguese?
Rocha was Portuguese.
Was,
yeah. God, we've not recruited well from Portugal at all. Jesus.
I'd say Pedro Mendes was the best one.
Yeah, probably. His better time was probably at Portsmouth than with us, but he was decent. But there is a Brazilian in the chat there, Zeneji. So I just want to say hi. I don't know if you can pull up the her comment or his comment there. So I don't know if it's a guy or girl. Hi Zeneji, tudo bem? Espero que você está bem. Vamos Spurs.
Thank you for that, Bren. You just wanted to show off your Portuguese, really, didn't you?
Do you think Caller's been on the beer?
Caller's definitely been on the beer, but we weren't going to talk about Caller because he's shafted us tonight just to go out on the company credit card. It's absolutely disgraceful.
Out.
Yeah, Caller out. Sacked. Look at the state of these comments, look. Come. I don't know if that means come ton. God knows what he's on. And on that note, John, thank you as ever for joining us.
No worries, mate. Thanks, mate, for making it back from IKEA.
Good luck with the floorballs, John.
Cheers.
Yeah. Have a lovely time with those floorboards. And Jack, thank you for your cheese room. Your input has been interesting.
Thank you, Shannon. You're more than welcome.
Hope to have
Well
you
done,
back
Jack.
again soon.
Good debut.
Good day, Jack.
Yeah, just here to keep you company.
And from now until Wednesday, when the Shan show returns, come on, you Spurs.
How are you, Spurs?
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.